Hey guys, this is Anime Ball Z here, and today we're going to be doing the 5th part of What If Deku had the Quirk Efficient. As you know, there will be no light goal and I'll just be dishing out these what ifs for you. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
Slick talker since a jet. Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag. Disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
Deku prepares for the finals exams not only by studying but by utilising a combination enhancement. He calls it the Super Enhancement. At the moment he is only able of using 5% and the first physical enhancement for long periods of time. He can just about push 8% for a few seconds with the first physical enhancement. He also does have more control of the second physical enhancement. He doesn't use it though because he wants more experience with this combination form. If you think about it, this form has a lot of potential. He can just gradually add the power and strength in his body. Deku's speed in his base form has increased from 140 miles per hour to 165 miles per hour. Deku has been waiting for the practical test. However, him and Bakugo are against All Might. You guys know how much Bakugo hates Deku in this what if, so he is completely unwilling to help him in the battle. Deku uses the first physical enhancement and zooms at All Might. All Might is able to dodge his attack and back kick him to the sky. Deku grasps his chest in pain from the attack and thinks, so much strength. Deku flips as he lands back onto the ground. All Might says, your power is very easy to be used against you, Midoriya. Deku says, are you gonna help? Bakugo scoffs and runs at All Might alone. He uses the AP bullet, but All Might puts his hand out and it leaves a small bruise. Deku says, we have to work together. Bakugo shouts, no! Bakugo runs at All Might, then jumps up to him only to be swatted into a building. Deku leaps onto the top of another building and thinks, I have to use more speed. Deku closes his eyes and then green electricity around him increases and acts more violently. This is him beginning the use of his combination form. He stands and jumps to the neighbouring building roof, then he zooms down the building leaving an electricity trail and he leaps towards All Might. He tries to kick All Might and it lands. All Might knocks back a bit but punches him in the face and sidekicks him in the trunk. Deku flies back and Bakugo flips over Deku. Deku closes his eyes and thinks, I can see his attacks. With this handicap I think I can take him. I need more power though. His electrical aura rages and expands. Deku uses 10% one for all full cowl and uses the first physical enhancement as well. Bakugo turns in awe as Deku stands. Deku zooms past Bakugo and leaves a gush of wind. Just for your information, the multiplier of the second physical enhancement is 4 times and the multiplier for this form is 4.4 times. This means this form is Deku's strongest possible form now. Also 8% one for all with the first physical enhancement is equal to the second physical enhancement's multiplier. Deku punches All Might and his speed at that moment is about 725 miles per hour. This means that he is close to breaking the sound barrier. He punches All Might right in the gut and this causes All Might to fly off his feet and cough blood because he punched his injury. Deku jumps over him and zooms away into the distance. This gives both Deku and Bakugo the win. Right after they win, Deku deactivates his form and he passes out. Shigaraki is actually quite scared to confront Deku in the mall after the exam. Deku is still quite weak from the exam and can't go into the same level of enhancements that he normally can, and he isn't as strong or fast. Shigaraki tries to sneak up on Deku while he's alone and Deku says, oh hello, you're from USJ. He walks up to Deku and says, don't make any sudden moves or I will disintegrate you. Deku says, I could rip your grip off of my neck and decapitate you before you could even move your finger. Shigaraki is quite fearful of Deku once he hears this, but as a mechanism to handle such fear, he plays it off as if what Deku said was a lie. It was partially a lie because for him to do that he'd have to use his physical enhancements all one for all. Shigaraki thinks, he can't do that. I could just kill him right now, yes, I'll kill him. He tries to disintegrate Deku as he drops his finger, but Deku's eyes glow green and he zooms forward. He turns then puts his fist right next to Shigaraki's heart. He says, one little hit and you're dead. Do not test me. Shigaraki starts shaking then tries to disintegrate Deku by swiftly pushing his palm. Deku dodges and kicks Shigaraki in the stomach very lightly for his standards. Shigaraki feels the force and his organs jerk back within him. He falls to the floor and grasps his stomach. Deku says, I will not listen to anything you will say. You are lucky I'm not killing you right now. His eyes stop glowing and he walks away as if nothing happened. As you can see, Deku has grown much more confident since he gained his power, and he isn't scared to use such power even if it's seen as the wrong thing to do. Uraraka sees Deku again and says, "Where did you go?" Deku said, "Some villain from the USJ incident. He came up to me trying to talk to me. I just lightly kicked him and he ran off." Uraraka says, "Really? A villain in here right now? Why don't you tell the heroes?" Deku says, "I will, but he knows not to come back because the next time he comes, I'll kill him." For the next arc, the Forest Training Camp arc, there are also many differences. Deku, while training, is mainly trying to see how far his limits are at the moment. He receives some pretty bad backlash from the final exam and he isn't able to go as far with his enhancements that he could before. He is only able to do 7% one for all on the first physical enhancement at best, as well as the second physical enhancement. Deku has been working on a new technique, the Lime Strike. This is where he controls his physical enhancement into his fist while also using one for all. This gives his fist a green tint surrounding it and makes the fist extremely strong. It's so strong that literally it causes a gush of wind in front of him as well as a loud whooshing noise. Now let's get to the fight with Deku and Muscular after the whole scaring thing and villain invasion in the forest. I'll be skipping that part mainly because there are little to no differences with this version of that part of the story and the original version of that part of the story. Deku saves Kota from the villain and he uses the first physical enhancement just to test the waters a bit. He zooms at Muscular and kicks Muscular right in the chest. This blow sends Muscular flying back, then Deku dashes at him and punches him right in the face. Muscular slams into the rock wall and Deku says, "Who are you?" He says, "Who do you think I am, kid?" Deku smirks and says, "Dead." He uses one for all and gains a green lightning aura. Deku smiles and the aura sort of concentrates into his fist. Muscular grows muscle mass around his body and Muscular runs at Deku. He throws a punch and this punch cracks the ground. Deku jumps up and kicks him back. Deku then zooms and leaps up to Muscular. He lands his Lime Strike attack and this hit is enough to leave a large hole within Muscular and completely shatter the rocks behind him. Muscular falls to the ground and stops moving. Deku says, "Let's go. Here." Deku runs to Shota and says, "Here, protect Kota." Shota says, "You took down the villain." Deku says, "Obviously, I'll go and help everyone else." Deku leaps up above the trees and looks around to see the scene. He arrives at where Fumikage is and sees Mezzo too. He says, "What's going on?" Dark Shadow tries to attack Deku, but Deku is able to dodge with ease. He is a bit confused at the matter though. Deku says, "What's going on?" Mezzo dodges an attack and says, "Dark Shadow's out of control, he needs light." Deku says, "I can do that." He uses 20% of one for all alone and bright green lightning trickles around him and he begins to glow. Fumikage notices the light and Dark Shadow begins to slowly shrink and become more calm. Fumikage is then able to retract Dark Shadow and says, "Thank you, Izuku." Deku says, "No problem, we need to go and help Bakugo." Deku zooms past the trees with his one for all still intact and leaps up into the air. He leaps and sees metal teeth coming for him. Deku just runs off of it and punches the villain straight in their face. The impact cracks some of the other teeth and completely shatters some. Deku leaps off, then the teeth start to shrink back into Moonfish. Moonfish falls to the floor with a cracked skull and bleeding head. Deku's aura decays and Bakugo seems very annoyed to see Deku and see him easily take down Moonfish. Bakugo thinks, "I was gonna finish him off with the AP bullet and stupid Deku just came in and took all the fun away. He's so annoying." The Bakugo escort squad try to escort Bakugo, but then Deku notices Mr. Compress trying to use magic and take Bakugo and Fumikage. Deku leaps up to him and his speed is so much that Mr. Compress isn't able to use magic in time. Deku punches him in the head and he flies off of the branch and onto the ground. Deku uses the first physical enhancement and then controls it into his fist. He dives down and uses one for all while he's airborne. He punches the villain right in the stomach and the impact is enough to break several bones and cause a large crack in the ground below. It also causes a loud banging sound, like a gunshot has just gone off or something. Deku says, "This guy tried to get Bakugo, we need to keep an eye out." Bakugo thinks, "Again? Why is he the one that always has to save me? Why is he the one that saw him first?" He clenches his fist and small explosions are seen coming from his fist. Deku says, "What's wrong, Bakugo?" Bakugo shouts, "Shut up!" He zooms at Deku and launches an explosion right in his direction. The smoke reveals a lightly bruised Deku. The bruise is healed right in front of Bakugo and Deku says, "Bakugo, just because I took down this villain doesn't mean I'm better than you." It just means I'm faster and stronger. I know I've been quite mean and annoying in the past, but that's because I finally had enough power to beat you in a fight. It was amazing, after always being weak, after always being the one without the quirk. You were better than me, Bakugo, but after I got this power, I could finally match you. The feeling was amazing. It was extraordinary. I've seen your ways of fighting. I've seen your AP bullet. That attack could go through me if you aim it in the right place. Bakugo, do not look at me and think I am unstoppable, but also don't think I'll hold back. Bakugo smiles and says, I guess it's game on then, Deku. So that concludes the 5th part of What If Deku Had the Quirk Efficient. I hope you guys enjoyed that part, and certainly more parts are to come. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.